everyone. Thanks for tuning in once again to Queen Ahmadiyyah TV presents More Than Meets the Third Eye. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so that you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay? So hello to Misha, Cherokee Descendant King, DB Truth, Crystal Ball, Millie, Pearly, Melanated Brown, 444 watching me. Okay. All right. SMCM LeVar. Let's get into it, people. Let's get into it. Now, this is going to be brief because I have a Zoom meeting scheduled after this broadcast. Okay. So I just want to talk to you for a minute about self-love and how important it is to love yourself and why you should not listen to haters. Right? But I'm sure you already know that. So let's just get into it. I'm going to share my screen because I have a PowerPoint. Okay. Love yourself. Loving yourself provides you with self-confidence, self-worth, and in general, you feel more positive. If you can learn to love yourself, you can feel happier and learn to take a better part of yourself and take better care of yourself. Accepting the pain and allowing yourself to be honest with who you are, that's a big step in loving yourself. And that's also why I tell you to speak positively about yourself. Don't talk down to yourself. Don't say negative things about yourself. Always speak positive affirmations to yourself. And don't listen to people who are pessimistic and telling you things, who are giving you criticisms, but not doing it for your best interest. Someone who's not trying to better you, but just blatantly being a hater. Now, what are self-love and self-care? Well, self-love is important. You see, we are created inside of our own bodies, and this is the person we should love. There are things about us that we want to change and that we find hard to accept. And self-love is to love who I am, and you should love who you are. Tell yourself positive affirmations, as I told you. I'm precious. I'm worthwhile. I'm worth the time and love to create the life that I want. Say these things to yourself. I am intelligent. I am intellectual. I am magnificent. Just tell yourself positive things, because there's going to be a lot of people out here in the world every day that have a lot of negative things to say about you. And you shouldn't listen to those people, right? Because people are often haters. And they want to tell you things to make you feel bad about yourself. And here's the thing. Sometimes, Pearlie says, Queen, I know the ancestors are our true angels, but you are truly an angel. Thank you. I stand with you. Well, thank you, beloved. Thank you so much for your kind words and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings to you. And here's the thing. Sometimes when we show love to ourselves, it makes other people uncomfortable. It makes them upset. And you have to ask yourself, why are they concerned about how you feel about yourself? Let's talk about how when Black people collectively say things positive about Black people, like when we say Black power, or we say something that inspires and motivates other Black people, like when we say Black girl magic, or when a Black man says, I love all Black women, or when Black women say, I love Black men. You notice how some people of other races and ethnic groups will say, well, what about us? Well, what about white women? What about Mexican women? At the end of the day, it bothers so many people when Black people show love for themselves. Hey, Mark, I see you all the way from the UK. So why does it bother people when we love ourselves? Now, here's the thing. Sometimes I get comments, in my DMs. It's from women, not from men. But I get comments and they'll say, oh, you're so arrogant, or, oh, you think you're this, you think you're that. No, that's what you think. Why are you even bothering to tell me? Because here's the thing. If I do think those things about myself, then why would I need you or anyone else to tell me? Right? You may as well just go ahead and admit that you're a hater. I have not done anything to you or said anything to you to make you feel or think this way. It's obviously something that you think, and you're projecting your own feelings onto me. And this is what people do. People get mad because they see something about your spirit that they themselves don't have. And a lot of times people are just upset or jealous about material things that we own and purchase. They're a lot of times jealous about our spirit, about the light that we have that shines, about our personality, the spirit, the very soul of who we are, because those are things that they themselves cannot purchase, right? It's our personality that bothers some people, our character traits that bother some and upset them. At the end of the day, sometimes your spirit aggravates other people's demons, right? And some of them have the demons of jealousy, envy, hate, and all of those things. So they'll constantly say things to try to bring you down and try to knock you down just a notch. Like, oh, why are, some people say, oh, why are they taking all these selfies? Or why are they just doing all of this? They just think they're all that, or they just love themselves so much. Yeah, you're supposed to love yourself so much. Like, how can you love yourself too much? That's just crazy. So it is your responsibility by taking self-love out of your control and leaving it in the hands of others, right? I'm sorry, it is your responsibility. But by taking self-love out of your control and leaving it into the hands of others, you can only ever be disappointed. After all, it isn't someone else's job to do that. And I told you this before. I told you how some people look for happiness and love outside of themselves. And though you may find it outside of yourselves, what do you do when that person that you find it in leaves? What if they just walk out of your life? What if, God forbid, they drop dead? Then what are you going to do? Resort to suicide? Resort to self-hate? Self-loathsomeness? It's important to love yourself first above all else. It's important to have self-care and take care of yourself and to be happy with yourself. Don't depend on someone else to bring you happiness, because I promise you, if that person leaves, your happiness goes right out the door with them. But if you're happy within yourself, and if you have self-love, then you're still going to be good. It won't matter what other people think. It isn't selfish, because sometimes people think, oh, it's so selfish of you. You just think only of yourself and everything's about you and this and that. Listen, in life, everything shouldn't be just about us, of course, because we have other people in our lives. You have your children, your mate, your family and friends, or whatever. No, everything doesn't have to be about us, and clearly it shouldn't. But also at the same time, some things should only be about us. Some things should truly just be about us. And that's not selfish. And also, when you're putting your own best interest before others, some people get upset and that bothers them. And they'll try to make you feel bad, try to make you, ashamed of yourself. Oh, you're being so selfish. You're only thinking of this. At the end of the day, you should think of yourself first. Because if you don't, who will? Right? Sometimes you have to think of yourself. When someone, for example, like I told you the other day, when someone's trying to get you to do something you're not comfortable doing, or you really don't want to do it, and then sometimes we inconvenience ourselves for others. Don't inconvenience yourself for people who will not do the same for you. Now, they say in every flight that you have to put on your life mask. You have to put it on before you can help another person, right? So it isn't selfish to do that, because you would surely die before you can help someone else, okay, who can't help themselves. Now, it's impractical, not heroic, to make yourself suffer while trying to be there for others. That's just crazy. Why would you sit there and try to help other people or someone else when at the same time you're not doing anything for yourself, and you helping them is to your own detriment? It's like when I told you before, when you try to save the drowning man is going to eventually pull you under, because they're in a panic and a frenzy. Sometimes you have to save yourself, and you absolutely have to put yourself first, because sometimes when you put others first, it is to the detriment of yourself. And I'm not saying you should never put others first, because like I said, there are some people who should come first. That should be your children, your spouse, if you have one, right? I'm just saying, but at the end of the day, you should think highly of yourself and prioritize your needs more so than most people's. But unfortunately, most people want us to prioritize their needs above our own. And that's just crazy. So similarly, you need to love yourself first so that you can help anyone that you want. Put yourself first, say no to draining circumstances, and make choices that are in your best interest. If someone asks me to do something and I feel like it's not in my best interest, and even if it's in theirs, I'm not going to do it. I am not going to do it. And let me tell you something. I had a boyfriend one time, and I don't sugarcoat things. I say exactly what's on my mind, and I tell people exactly what I'm thinking. And I remember one day me and him were having a conversation, and he said to me, "Oh, you just want everything to go your way." And I laughed and I said, "Of course I do. Why would I not want everything to go my way? Who literally doesn't want things to go their way? Don't we all want things to go our way? Now, we can't always have it our way. This is true. Life is not Burger King, right? So we can't always have it our way. But don't we, in truth, if we honestly speak the truth, don't we all want everything to go our way? Like, I didn't wake up and say, "Hey, you know what? I hope this day goes everybody else's way except mine." No, you want things to go your way. That's just common sense. So when he said that, I thought it was so silly and ironic. I just laughed, because at the same time he's telling me I want everything to go my way. Clearly, he wanted everything to go his way as well. That's why he mentioned what I wanted, right? Right. G. Purry says, "Who wants adversity? Yeah, absolutely. Who wants trouble and chaos? Who want things to go the opposite of what they're trying to achieve? Make it make sense. Now, when you love yourself, you live on another level. You're on a whole nother vibe. You will vibrate so high, right? You'll be on cloud 9. Some people won't like that. And that should be okay for you. It may be even good, considering you will see who cares for you, who is happy to see you happy, and who just wants to see you be miserable. And let's not forget, people, misery absolutely does love company. I told you before how some people will be fine with you when you're in the same circumstance that they're in. But as soon as you start to excel past them, you start to evolve and you're moving forward, then all of a sudden, jealousy takes hold, because they want you to stay right there with them. They don't want you to go past them. And so they'll start telling you things, to discourage you. "Oh, you can't do that. You're not going to get that job. Why would they hire you? You don't even have enough degrees, or you don't have enough experience." They'll start saying things to try to hinder your growth, to try to stop you from moving forward, because really they're afraid that they won't be able to catch up to you, because they don't have any goals that they've set for themselves, and they're not trying to do the work to move themselves forward so that they too can evolve. And as I've told you before, many people are not meant to go on the journey through life with us. So we have to, unfortunately, leave them behind. Everybody's not going to be on the same boat. And you're the captain of your own ship. And you deserve it. Now, all of your life, it may have been heavily implied that you're supposed to love yourself. You're supposed to help others first, or that you aren't supposed to love yourself. And you're supposed to help others first and only gain it as a result of your acts of service. This is what many of us were taught, especially when we grew up Christian and going to church and all that in Sunday school. They always made it seem like you have to do more service to others than you do to yourself, right? And as we all have experienced, love isn't always equal. No, it absolutely isn't. Some people love hard, and some people, they just have a hard time loving. And some people give their all, 100%, and some people, you can barely get 50%, right? But before you commit to loving someone else, you should first be in love with yourself. Because if you can't love yourself, this is always going to be something that interrupts the relationship that you have with the other person. Insecurities, right? Not being sure of yourself, not feeling worthy, always thinking the person's up to something, and those type of things. Still, so just let me reiterate to you that you deserve to love yourself. You are a beautiful, caring, selfless human being. And so why on earth would you do anything less? That's what you should ask yourself. Why on earth would you do anything less? And you know something I used to do? I used to do this when I was young. Like when I was, in high school and college. I used to downplay my intelligence. And the reason I did it is because I've always been exceptionally smart. like in honors classes, always excelled with good grades and stuff like that because I love to research. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I love to read and research and I love to learn. I have always loved to learn. When I was 9 years old, I remember I started reading the dictionary to learn big words, and so I've always been smart. But when I was in high school and like my first year in college, I would downplay my intelligence. And you know why? Because I felt like it made some people uncomfortable. Because people would say, oh, you think you know everything. Oh, you're just a know-it-all. And so people would say those things. So I didn't want to come off as a know-it-all. So I would downplay my intelligence. And sometimes when people would tell me something, like say, for example, they find out some information and they're trying to, tell me the information that they found out, I would already know it a lot of times. And I would just act like I'd never heard it before. And I would look, oh, really? Oh, okay. Wow. Wow. I didn't know that. And I would just be lying. I absolutely knew it. Right. But with that all being said, when I stopped doing that was one day I was talking to this guy and he was telling me something. And I was like, oh, for real? Are you serious? And he was like, cut the crap. He was like, you already know this. He said, you already know this, right? He's like, you can stop acting like you don't know what I'm talking about because I know as smart as you are, you already know this. And that's when I realized, I said to myself, I should not be trying to dim my own light just so that other people feel like they can't shine. Or feel like they can shine. I should not be trying to dim my own light, right? But that's what I did, okay? Now, are you afraid of being perceived as narcissistic and reducing your likability? That might happen, but wouldn't it be better if you were able to be around people who love you for loving yourself? You create your reality. Like I always tell you, perception is reality, right? So it's possible. There are no downsides to loving yourself. And even if something seems wrong, your life will be better for it. You have to accept and love yourself despite your flaws. Nobody's perfect. We all have some insecurities or things about ourselves that we want to change. All you need to do is do the work to make those changes happen. That's how you evolve. And there's no need to feel bad about yourself. You can inspire someone. Remember how I always tell you all, inspire, motivate, and encourage, right? So by taking up the chance to love yourself first, you can inspire other people to make that same change. Most people are just waiting for a leader to step up and take the scary steps and show that it's safe. This new way of living is okay and acceptable without suffering from a social setback. Come forward and say, hey, I love myself. It's scary, but it's okay. If I'm honest, it's nice not to rely on other people to know my self-worth. Absolutely. I don't need other people to tell me my self-worth. I don't need other people to validate me. I know who I am and I love myself and I'm confident with myself and I'm happy with myself. Now, to some people that may sound arrogant, but I'm going to tell you the difference. When you're a confident person, you are sure of yourself. You have no problem with yourself, expressing yourself and being your authentic true self. Arrogance, the difference is this. When a person is arrogant, they don't feel that it's not that they know that they're confident or know that they can do things or whatever. It's the fact that they feel the need to make other people know it. They worry about what other people know. So they want to make other people know, oh, I'm so smart. Oh, I'm so beautiful. Oh, I'm so wealthy. That's arrogance. It's when you want to make sure other people looking at you know these things about yourself. You have to prove yourself to other people. You have to try to worry about what other people think of you. That's very important. That's arrogance. Now, quite frankly, what people think about me is none of my business as far as I'm concerned. Whatever anyone thinks of me is none of my business. So I don't let other people's thoughts and perceptions of me affect how I live my life, because I know who I am. Broken Silence says, teach, teacher. Thank you, beloved. My aunt says, Queen Ahmadiyyah, my dad used to tell me, be like other people. Hold on. Be like other people. Well, I told him, be more like Bill Cosby. Be more like Bill Cosby's show. He allowed children to sit down and have conversations. He said I was dictating. I wouldn't say you were dictating, but I don't know why he would tell you to be like other people. You should be like yourself, be authentic. That's the problem with some people. They have an identity crisis. They don't know who they really are, and they don't know how they really want to present themselves. So what they do is they look for a model, someone they can mimic and copy. And so they try to act out, their lives as that person, try to do the same thing that person's doing. And that's not the thing to do, because you can't be anyone else. And even if you try, I guarantee you the authentic person is going to do a whole lot better job than you ever could, right? The best person at being you is yourself. The best person at being me is being myself. So I would never tell anyone to try to be like other people. So watch how many people will turn around and say, you inspired me, when you are just being yourself and you know your self-worth, right? And you're being authentic. And I couldn't be more excited, because here's the thing. I love to inspire people. I love to encourage and motivate people. That's why I love this channel, because I like to share knowledge and information, and I like to make people feel good about themselves. And I like to find the best in people so they can bring it out. Because sometimes we don't know the best of ourselves. We don't even know or see the best of ourselves. Now, to love yourself, you just need to give yourself permission to try. So set a positive example to someone else and do it now. Who knows? It might end up changing your life. And I guarantee you it will. You'll be on a higher level of consciousness. You'll vibrate higher. Your frequencies will change. You'll start to be optimistic rather than pessimistic, and all of those wonderful things. You can change the world. When you love yourself first, you can create real change. You have that new confidence, bravery, and conviction to do it. You stop depending on someone else to give you all the emotional benefits that come with love, because you love yourself. So you give yourself those emotional benefits, right? And as soon as you make that happen, greatness follows suit. Remember, I believe it was Biggie Smalls that said to Puffy or P. Diddy, how can we change the world if we can't change ourselves? Absolutely. Absolutely. If you want to make change, you should be the evolution that you want to see. You must change yourself and love yourself before you can make changes or making impacts in the world. Now, you learn how to really love someone else, right? That's what happens when you love yourself. You can spend your life by giving love away, hoping to gain it in return. But life isn't a business transaction, though some people think it is, clearly. Some people just take, and you keep giving without realizing that it chips away at your own self-worth and self-esteem. Like I told you the other day, right? You don't owe anyone anything except for your children and your spouse. Other people outside of that, you don't owe them anything. Anything that you give or do for them is clearly out of the kindness of your own heart. You owe it to yourself to be the best you and to love yourself and to put yourself first when need be. Now, when you love yourself without expecting anything in return, you can love someone the way they deserve to be loved. After all, you have an endless source of it, and it can never deplete. Because trust me, if you don't love yourself, honey, you can't love anybody else. Not the way they should be loved. Because here's the thing. If you don't love yourself, it goes back to what I said earlier. If you don't love yourself and you feel like you're in love with someone else, well, you won't love them the way they deserve to be loved, because you'll in fact be insecure. You'll always be unsure, thinking that they're lying, thinking that they're cheating. You won't be able to enjoy them as a whole. You won't be able to love and enjoy the person and to experience the person themselves, because you're too busy and your mind is too clouded and cluttered with you worrying about your own insecurities, and you start to project that onto them. That's what we do when we don't love ourselves. If you want to replenish the light within you and reconnect with an unlimited source of love, take a day off to do that. Find out who you are and be compassionate to yourself. Buy something nice, like go to a spa, compliment yourself, positive affirmations, as I told you, and make other hard choices that are in your best interest. That's the only thing, or the only way, to reignite your light and love yourself. And with that all being said, I'm going to read you a poem written by Mary Ann Williamson. Some of you know who Mary Ann Williamson is. She's the woman who she ran for president. She was kicked out shortly thereafter. She's a spiritual advisor. She actually was is a spiritual advisor to Oprah, right? But she wrote this poem that I love. Hold on. Our deepest fear. If you haven't heard that, our deepest fear. This poem is very relevant because it's talking about how you feel about yourself. And it's also about self-love, though it doesn't use those words per se, but that's really what it's all about. And some of the things in this poem, like I said, I found myself doing when I was younger. You know, like I said, I would downplay my own intelligence because I didn't want people to feel like I was too smart or like I thought I was smarter than everybody else. So I would downplay that. And I had to stop doing that. Because it's not my fault that somebody else doesn't allow their own light to shine. Just because they don't allow their own light to shine and they're insecure, I'm not supposed to dim my light to appease them. And that's what I had to learn. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. So our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that others don't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. And as we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Amir says low blows won't work. Absolutely. AP says our deepest fear by who? Sorry, just coming to the live. Beloved, that's by Mary Ann Williamson. If you saw the movie Coach Carter, and when Samuel L. Jackson asked the young Puerto Rican guy, I can't remember his name, but he asked him, what is your deepest fear? And he didn't have an answer. And then when he realized what it was, he came back and he recited this poem. And that is our deepest fear. It's not that we are inadequate. It's that we are powerful beyond measure. Sometimes we don't know and realize our power. And many of our people don't because of the remnants of slavery and the brainwashing and the things that they have been taught that are still deeply rooted and embedded in their brains and minds. Cognitive dissonance, right? Some of our people do not know and realize and understand the power of themselves, of their spirits, and of melanin. Okay, and I have done a video about the power of melanin. So please go back and watch that if you missed it. It's really interesting, right? Because there's a lot of things about our melanin that many of us, our people, don't even know. Okay. GA Fit Health says, know thyself and act accordingly. Absolutely. Okay, so with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I hope you all got something out of it. Enjoy this day. Stay high vibrational. Do something constructive and productive, never destructive. And listen, when you have naysayers that P. Bell says that's the poem that they said on Coach Carter to the Hispanic. Yes, absolutely. That's what I was just saying. So when you have naysayers who are telling you, oh, you think you're all of this, you think you're all of that, don't pay that any mind, because really that's what they're thinking. They're projecting their thoughts onto you. And guess what? If you do think you're all of that and you do just love yourself so much and you do think you're God's gift, why do they care? Why does what you think about yourself affect anyone else? Why do they even care? That's what you should ask yourself. They may as well just go ahead and admit that they're just a hater, right? Everyone should think highly of yourself. Everyone should think highly of yourself. No matter who you are, no matter what you look like, no matter how intelligent or whatever, you should always think highly of yourself. Because even in your flaws, and even in the things about yourself that you don't like, even in the things about yourself that you want to change, you should still accept every bit of yourself. You only have one life to live. And this is the avatar that we are given, right? And if things about yourself don't look the way you want them to, if things about yourself aren't falling into place, if you feel like you don't know enough, or you're not doing enough, or you just can't be enough, you can. And remember, there's always room for improvements. Okay, so I'm going to conclude this broadcast. Please make sure that you tune in at 1:30 on the True Crime channel. Queen Ahmadiyyah TV presents True Crime, because I have 2 stories. One of them is about the Cleveland Strangler, the most notorious serial killer in Cleveland, right? And then also about the axe murder of a teacher. I'm going to be doing those 2 stories at 1:30. Let me make sure that's the right time. Yes, 1:30, okay? 1:30, and then the next one starts at 1:50. Also, don't forget to tune in at 6 p.m. for your daily vitamins. Going to be very interesting today. I'm doing 3 daily vitamins, so you don't want to miss out. So with that all being said, Susan says, I love you, Queen. Thank you. And I love you, right? Black, beloved. Erin says, thank you, Queen. You are very inspirational. Thank you. Thank you for your kind words. Robin says, I'm late. I'm going to watch the replay. Okay, beloved. With that all being said, I wish you all love, peace, and prosperity. Enjoy the rest of this lovely day. And I hope to see you all right black in the chat. And don't forget, I've got my third eye on you.